Women are 50% of the workforce in the U.S. according to the U.S. Department of Labor, yet they are still subject to sexist treatment. From overt acts of sexism to subtle macroaggressions, the employers and companies subjecting their female employees to this treatment are also losing. To illustrate in this, it's self-defense, how perceived discrimination promotes employee withdrawal. Researchers found that when employees perceive a job demand is associated with a perceived devalued social identity, they psychologically withdraw. To specify, when employees perceive sex discrimination, it significantly predicted burnout. Burnout significantly predicted lateness, absenteeism, and intention to quit. Aside from psychological effects, sexism also affects women psychologically when dealing with hostile and benevolent sexism. Hostile sexism is when negative stereotypes are used against women, and benevolent sexism is when positive stereotypes are used that advantage women. According to Solomon, the women in the hostile group reported more sexism than the benevolent group, and those in the benevolent group reported more sexism than the control group. However, sexism scores below the midpoint. This means that these women tried not to label sexist experiences as gender discrimination. Furthermore, they found that women in the hostile group have a greater SBP and HR reactivity than the other two groups, but there was anger towards the researcher in both the hostile and benevolent group. Lastly, the group with the benevolent sexism took the longest to recover in cardiac output, heart rate, and during the pre-ejection period. Far more disturbing discoveries are that when sexist stereotypes, whether positive or negative, previously mentioned, are mentioned or inferred, it hinders women's performance and confidence in achieving their goals in the workplace. First of all, Study 1 from the European Journal of Social Psychology shows that women who engage in social comparisons with men cause them to separate their identities, which leads to experience of stereotype threat. Study 2 shows that that stereotype threat did not correlate with the desired rank or position. However, according to von Hippel, social comparisons with men is negatively correlated with the chances of those women achieving their career aspirations. They also tend to lower their career aspirations and feel stereotype threat. As a result, stereotype threat was not related to the position when women want, but it was related to how women were able to feel to get to that position. The results of Study 3 complemented Study 1 and suggested that stereotype threat is related to women separating their female and work identities, which leads to a lower self-esteem and thus lower sense of belonging in the workplace. Furthermore, a greater feelings of stereotype threat were associated with decreased job satisfaction and higher likelihood of quitting. Instead of using any type of sexism, it would be beneficial for companies and business to try and create a gender equal environment. In patterns of gender equality in workplaces and psychological distress, the lowest overall occurrence of psychological distress as well as same occurrence for women and men was found on the most gender equal workplaces. The results from this study support the convergence hypothesis, as gender equality at the workplace does not relate to better mental health for women, but also more similar occurrence of mental ill health between women and men. Clearly, it is to advantage of business to support women in their battle against sexism. No joke is worth the money lost when companies have higher turnover. Employees are sick and have to call in, when they're late, and when they are not fully invested in their work. I am Daniela Marquez, and this video was produced and written by Selena Ramirez.